prior to, they replaced all of the ones that were not up to code. There was a prior contract.
So who's the accountability if there's no inspector and you pass the blame to the contractor?
And you pass the blame.
Well, yeah, okay, let me rephrase that. You put it in a set of plans that the contractors assumes all responsibility for depths and whatever else. In my years in construction.
No, it wasn't. He was just to locate it so that he knew at what depth to take the thing down.
Okay.
It wasn't his responsibility to fix it or anything else. It was just his responsibility to pothole and know that location. And along that same lines, he replaced all of these old core stops along there. So he, in 20 locations prior this summer, potholed that pipeline.
Right.
And so that pipeline hasn't moved since earlier this summer. And so that pipeline, and then he also crossed it with a sewer. And so we've seen that pipeline plenty of places through there. And so, you know, it's just a matter of them just going and doing a pothole to keep themselves at grade so they don't get too low.
And it's up to code and been inspected.
That water line was in there years and years ago.
Right, but all the services are up to code
Yes.
and been inspected.
The services were put in with the prior project.
Right, and anything prior, there has to be an inspector come through at the end, regardless if it was last year, whoever does the new work, there's somebody that's accountable to inspect that work that's being done, correct?
I guess I'm not understanding the question, but yes, the work that he's done has been inspected.
Okay, that's all, because I was a little confused when you guys were going back and forth.
No, the work that they've done has been inspected.
And then, like I said, in the future, when we do projects like this, I don't know whose idea it was to keep 3 feet of sidewalk and gutter, but I find it ridiculous. We're wasting taxpayer dollars, and then it's harder for the contractor to match up to it instead of just doing it all flush and brand new.
Well, that comes back from, you know, prior, that's been something
It's
that
the amount of
RC
money
work has
we have
done.
available to do the project.
Yeah, we're limited in funding, and so we're trying to stretch that dollar as far as possible.
Okay, I just think it's gonna cost you guys more money to match up to that than would have been to rip it all out for you, but my 2 cents.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
I see our fire chief back there. I would ask him to please come forward and give us a public comment to ensure the citizens what you guys can do in response to fires and EMS calls. You gotta come up here. Give them a hopefully get along with them.
Well, with our side of it, it's been a frustrating summer all along. I mean, the DOT project, the Murray Street project, all of them. With our understanding, I mean, we gotta work with contractors. They gotta work, they got a job to do. And, you know, on certain days, they're not gonna always have that road up to par. I mean, there might be times we're gonna have to stretch a lot of hose down there if we got a fire, if we can't get an engine there. It's just been a frustrating summer on both projects going. So far, it hasn't hampered us too bad. I'm just kinda here hoping to see that this project will get back up to snuff, so we, you know, knock on wood, we haven't had no calls in that section, because there's no way in hell we'd ever got a fire truck or an ambulance in there, so. We're here hoping to see that they'll get this back up to snuff to where we can at least get emergency equipment in there. And like I said, understand, you know, work's gotta be done, and same with the DOT project, you know, we had to work around them a lot of times we were having to go all the way down and around to 8th Street back up to get into the Upper East Ely area. And I communicated good with Ed all summer, he was super good with that. Haven't got a whole lot of communication from JCR on road closures, started on early in the project, but after that, nothing, so I've been kind of just driving by, seeing what we're up against and going from there. Anybody got any questions?
Yeah, you won't be like the post office and not make a delivery with an ambulance.
No. We'll get there one way or another, I mean.
That's what I wanna do.
Like I said, you know, we try to not use alleyways, but, you know, we got the alleys that we can get in if we have to in an emergency, some of that stuff. So, I mean, no matter what, we're gonna be able to get there. Might be a little bit, take a little more time than normal, but, we'll still be there.
Thanks, Pat.
Thanks, Ben.
Fire chief, last 3 weeks I've called 3 times, I think, to your guys at the fire station, and Jackie has answered at the sheriff's department and told her that there's gonna be a street closed.
Okay.
So, just so you know.
Yeah.
Cause I've called for you, but you guys were on a call one time.
Right.
Other comment?
Called there.
Yeah.
Last but not least.
Yeah, hear what I have to say first. Again, Kyle Horvath, 843 Murray Street. I came to this meeting, like all of my neighbors, to have the ability to express our frustrations in the goal that we walked away from here with some sort of confidence that this project was going to get done. But I got to be honest with you, after hearing all the bickering and pointing and things like that, I have zero confidence considering the season that we're in, considering how the work has gone up to this point, and how easy it is for everybody to just be like, no, it's this person's fault. Okay, I have zero confidence right now that this project is going to be done to my satisfaction or to any of these people's satisfaction too. All right, but I guarantee that this project is in front of your house, or 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 in front of your house, knowing what I know of working with you all, shit would have blown up months ago. Okay, I feel out of sight and out of mind. I feel like that Murray Street project is the redheaded stepchild because you can just zip around it and completely ignore it and not look at it. Okay, I'm here because I constantly have to be looking forward. I have to have rose-colored lenses in all the projects that I do for this community. But if I ran my department the way this project was being run, I would have been strung up and drug out of town years ago. Okay, please. I want to be pleasantly surprised. Okay, I'm setting my standards below road grade level right now of what we're dealing with. All right, somebody step up for Murray Street and surprise us with finish this thing proper. All right, because I have zero confidence right now after this meeting.
Well, I'll comment one little bit on that. The man has given us their word. Let's go from there. It's been blowing up all year. We have some dates, we have some times, we've offered an extension. I feel very confident that the contractor and everybody involved is going to satisfy the citizens of Murray Street. Just like we said, this first part of the project will be completed by the 31st, weather permitting, and we're going on, we're not even dealing with that. It's gonna be completed by the 31st, so you have a road. The extension's the other 30 days to complete it. But to stand there and to downgrade a contractor, any human being, saying you're not gonna get it done because I don't think you are, well, that's my statement. He's offered it, I no more.
My standard is low because of your bickering back and forth
I'm not
and
bickering,
blame gaming.
you started it, so anyway, we're
Well,
gonna
then
get it
come on,
done.
Richard, let's go.
We're gonna get it done.
You want to get hot-headed about this. If this
Hey,
was
I'm
in
not
front of your house, if this was in front of
stood
your
up there
house,
and said that the contractor who's given us their word is not gonna get the job done.
then
Give him a
pleasantly
chance
surprise
to get
me.
it done.
Pleasantly
That's-
surprise me then.
Okay, that's, well, hopefully you are.
Hopefully I am.
I think you will be. Okay.
Awesome.
Okay.
Hey, I'd like to say something.
No, that's it.
Can I say something? I think we're at the point of the project where it's starting to go up. You know, there's no longer the trying to go down with the materials, so I believe it's at a situation where, as the contractor is saying, you could see a drastic improvement this week. You know, because they are at the point to lay down the geofabric and start bringing in the material. You know, once that happens, I do believe you'll see a substantial improvement quickly. You know, we've had plenty of conversations with the contractor, and he's brought it to us about the possibility of what he just expressed to you guys is about the overpaving. And so when we sit here and we come and watch these things, we are having a conversation with the contractor. The contractor is saying, hey, here's my plan, here's what are things we're gonna try to accomplish. And so, you know, what he basically expressed to you is the things that he's been expressing to us as well. And so I'm glad we had this meeting. I'm glad it come out. Everybody else can come back and understand what's going on. But I do believe that it's at a point where you will start to see some, you know, hopefully some substantial improvements here coming this week. And once that material gets up and out of here, you know, this is a situation where it was unfortunate that the snowstorm hit when it did because they were just about ready to come in and start doing this. And so if they would have been a couple of days ahead and beat that snowstorm, instead of it being mud and it would have been the type 2 material, this would have been a whole different conversation. That road wouldn't have looked the way that it did. It's just unfortunately they got caught by Mother Nature, but it is at a point where it is, hopefully will go faster and they can get done what they're planning.
Okay, done. Real quick, then we're gonna get out of here.
I'd just like to thank Mr. Stork for coming to this meeting because I was a concerned citizen. I've been really worried how you're going to get into my house if something happens to me. And I'm sure my grandson's been worried too, so thank you for coming and clarifying that, because nobody has done that all summer long. And thank you guys for taking the time to listen to us. And please, come up and take a look at what we've been dealing with. We know you can't go back and do anything now, but just come up and take a look at it and see that, you know, we're not off base. All we want was, we was concerned about how we was gonna get in with a few groceries or stuff. But thank you guys for listening to us, and I'm gonna go. But again, thank you.
Okay, nothing else? We are adjourned.
No, you're not.
Oh, George, I'm sorry.
That's all right. It's not the first time you turned me down. Thank you. Sorry. Mr. Chairman, I have an ongoing concern in regards to the ingress on Avenue D. Yeah, vehicles running over the curb, gutter sidewalk, that's way too narrow, not to code. We gotta address that. Someone's gonna get hurt one of these days. You have safety equipment that may need to come in from the north end, from Fire Station 1. You're not gonna be able to make that corner. It's way too narrow. You have vehicles pushing that boulder onto the sidewalk. They've knocked that stop sign down more than once. Ask your Sheriff's Department. Mr. Chairman, on the corner of Avenue C and 7th Street, on the Q&D project, I was told it was part of the project. You still do not have a drop inlet for runoff. Curb and gutter was not extended from Avenue D down. You told me that was gonna be done. We're gonna lose a good street that's paved. You're gonna get erosion. If we're gonna do a project, let's do it right the first time. How many times we gotta talk about that? I can't remember if I talked earlier, but the water taps for my property and my brother's property at 729, 733 Great Basin have not been put in. I was told they were gonna be put in May when we started that project. I can't find the taps. I want those taps. The sewer tap for 733 is 40 feet away when the code says it's in front of the property, not down the street, not in Timbuktu. I didn't make the rules, you guys did. I want equal protection under the law, not just me, but anybody else in this community. On that corner that I showed you on Great Basin and Avenue G, I can't park alongside of my property like I used to before. I asked for rolled curbing, they told me I was gonna get rolled curbing. It's L-shaped, I can't park behind there. Now I'm told I can't park there because I don't have a permit. Really? I want that permit, I'll pay for it, but if there isn't one, and regardless if there isn't one, I'm gonna go up and down that street. I think you folks are treating me, not you folks, but some people in this community are treating me wrong. My street, Avenue G, is wider than the Campton access coming off next to the Great Basin Boulevard, right by the Copper Queen. Way too narrow. The road was narrowed without a public hearing. You've got drainage coming off the parking lot onto the sidewalk. Violation of code. It's been 4 or 5 years. When are we gonna address that? There's still no ADA access on the corner of Avenue C and 11th Street, or on 13th Street and Avenue M, both RTC projects. I'm gonna tell you, those go back probably 4 years, 5 years, maybe longer. Again, if we're gonna spend the money, let's do it one time and one time only. I want to remind you that on 7th Street, at the railroad crossing coming off the old grade school, 622 High Street, you've taken away my access. I want it back. I can't walk across riprap and do maintenance. That's a federal project. Federal regulations require ADA access. You don't have that. A handicapped person is pushed off into the street. A person in a wheelchair is put in a bigger problem. I need some answers.
Thanks, George.
I just want to make one quick point. Listening to the bickering and everything else, but one thing I heard over and over and over again, oh, we had a snowstorm, oh, we had a snowstorm. This is Ely, Nevada, a snowstorm in October is not unheard of. Like, not even close. Come on, guys.
Nothing else? We are officially adjourned.
Motion to
I'll second it.
Richard, don't disrespect our concerns. They're valid and you're an elected official. And if I'm concerned about a project, do not disrespect me after everything that I've done for this community.
I
All of
did
our
disrespect-
concerns.
I second that. That was
All of that
uncalled
was
for.
uncalled for, Richard Howe.
You disrespected the contractor. who
No,
You
that wasn't
disrespected
anything
us.
against Casey,
You are not
Richard,
a
and
leader.
you
You
know
are
it.
not a leader. You are a hothead and you don't like being challenged. Well, I'm sorry, you fucked this one up, Richard. And you gotta deal with it. You're gonna have serious problems. Fucking asshole.
This has been a Georgetown production. George Chachis reporting.